Hi, if you're new here, my name is Nina. Let's see Apple out. You want to hear something messed up? How do you feel about flour? You know what I mean? How do you feel about flour? You know what I mean? However you feel about it, I want you to stay. But specifically, if you don't if you don't agree, if you don't mess with it, I want you to stay because I want to know if this next thing I'm about to tell you changes your opinion in any way, shape, or form. But I'm not trying to change your opinion. I just want to know if it does. When I was in the 8th grade, my teacher, because I was an advanced proficient literacy, my teacher wanted to put me into an oratorical. I'm using a lot of words in this fucking sentence. Just feels like my mouth is full of letters. She wanted to put me in this thing where I had to write a speech, memorize a speech, and say it in front of a group of people. I'm scared. I have stage fright. I didn't want to do that. So I said, I don't want to do that. She was like, you have to. I said, okay, if I have to, I'm going to make it about the legalization of flour. This is circa 2010, and back then it was not. Back then it wasn't allowed, okay? I know some kids nowadays don't even know what that feels like, but when I was a youngin', I had to hide to enjoy my time. Now it's 2026 and I have a card that says I'm allowed to have it, and there's stores you can just go. You just buy it. It's just, I don't know, okay. Just back in the day, it didn't used to be that way. My point in what I'm saying is, I did this speech, and I made it on this thing. And I learned something, and it really upset me. Because I was like, what do you mean? So do you know what hemp is? If you don't know, I'm going to tell you. It's the stem of the big plant. Okay, like I want you to picture the plant. If you don't know what the plant looks like, I'm going to tell you too. It's a giant tree. So what would be the trunk of the tree? Okay, it's this plant. You get hemp. And it's super fibrous, super strong, super easy to manipulate. You can make paper out of it. You can make jeans out of it. And you can make t-shirts out of it. And that sounds really cool, right? An even cooler thing to note is that it is cheaper and more ecologically safe to use hemp, which is super cool, you would think, right? Who would dislike that? Who would dislike knowing that this beautiful, multifaceted plant, right? And not even on like a, I like the smoke kind of way, but just like this plant can be used to make so much stuff that we do on a day-to-day use, right? Books, clothing, denim, fucking jeans, come on, pants, that's serious, and it's very sturdy, and it is good for the everything, except 3 things in specific. It's really, really bad for lumber, cotton, and denim. I don't know if you know, but the American dream, right? When you picture good old-fashioned America, what you see in your head is oftentimes a man in a flannel with some jeans on and an axe because he's been chopping wood. And so what happened was, right, back in the day, when we were placing our bets on like what to invest in, we invested in lumber, cotton, and denim. And then hemp came along and was like, hey, I can do all of that. But we had already invested so much money into lumber, cotton, and denim. So instead, and I found this all out in 8th grade, okay? I would really like to let you know that I'm old as fucking hell now. And the idea that a 14-year-old me was on the internet unrestricted just looking this up for a school assignment? In my research, I discovered we all know the medical. By now, we all understand the medicinal benefits of this plant. So that's 4 industries that this plant is associated in, okay? In my research, I discovered that a smear campaign was developed. And they started to say this thing where they were like, okay, well, this thing does 4 things, but I want you to only focus on the one thing. I don't want you to look at the other 3 things. Don't worry about the other 3 things. Focus on the one thing. And then look at that one thing. That one thing is kind of bad. Look at how they act. Look at what's going on in the brain. Oxygen's getting cut off. Oh my God. No, don't worry about the medicinal stuff. Don't even look at that. Look at the one thing. Look at how it looks and look at what it does. And then they started to make it look silly. You know, you think of that 70s show? They wanted you to specifically associate it with something a little bit silly. So I guess what I'm saying is if you've made it this far, I want to know, did you know? Did you know that this plant could do so much? And if you didn't, does it kind of change your opinion on it if you didn't like it? If you do like it, does it upset you to know that the reason that you will probably never attain it in its fullest extent of the law, right, is because if they ever did, it would mean the collapse of one of the biggest industries, some of the biggest industries that we put our money into. Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, it kind of bothers me because it makes me wonder how much of this plant is actually bad and how much of it have we just been told it was bad so that we wouldn't pay attention to it. That's all I got. Much love.